Hi, welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. And this is my weekly update, number 119, and it is September 1st, or September 21st, 2025. So it's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. I know I had posted, my daughter had been in an accident and things just got kind of crazy around here. Busy playing the vehicle shuffle. That's all taken care of, but we're still working on getting another vehicle. We've got the insurance money. It's just a matter of picking it out and taking a lot of time. So getting everybody where they need to be. We're playing the vehicle shuffle still. Plus, I really wanted to finish the All Ohio Shop Hop 2025. Which I did yesterday. So this coming week I'll have some more videos showing the rest of my shop hop haul, but I get to get to all 86 shops. Now yesterday was Sew and National Jelly Roll Day. I didn't do any sewing of jelly rolls yesterday because I was shop hopping, but after I finish my shop hop haul videos, I'm going to start on another What Will I Make series, which will be this jelly roll right here. So I'll have to stay tuned for that. Hopefully the next week, not this coming week, next week I can get those up. See what I make with that jelly roll. So, let's see. I haven't, well, I've got a bunch of things to show you. But each week it didn't really seem like there was a lot of progress just because I had so much other stuff going on. But now lumped together, seems like there's a lot. So, to get started, behind me, I finished this quilt, which is the chain link quilt. Here it is. Now this was from a Creative Notion subscription box from several years ago. Now this wasn't like the main project in there because I think it was something with like some some English paper piecing, and I didn't want to do, but they had this as like an alternative pattern, and this is what I did. So like I said, it was from a Creative Notion subscription box from several years ago. I don't remember which month and date, but I got it all done. So the fat quarters that they sent were there, and then I had to use my own fabric for the background and the borders that are in here for these little squares on the borders and these little corners that came from my stash. I believe this was a Sandy Gervais line. This was Adele and Spring fabric by Sandy Gervais for Riley Blake. So let's take a closer look at everything. Alright, so there's a look at the top. I'm just going to work our way down here a little bit. We'll go over to the side a little bit. Like I said, those squares over there was from my own stash, as well as the small little purple dot squares that was from my own. Purple polka dot squares was from my own stash that I had added. Going down and over. So this quilt does end up being 82 by 82, so it is a pretty good size quilt. But I finished that. So what else did I work on? Well, I no longer get the Creative Notion subscription box, but I did get it for years. And I've been kind of working through those projects here in my rotation of the however many I do at a time. And I went to the next box. Let me pull it out. That I had in my rotation. Oops, I got some things here falling over. So the next project I pulled out is this binder cover with some cross stitch right here. And these little pop-up things right back there that I'm making with the fabric. So I've started cutting all that stuff out. So again, I have all these little pieces right here to start with that binding cover. And I did cross stitch this patterns. Now in this particular subscription box, when they gave it, again, this is several years old, they had different things that you could cross stitch. I went with patterns. And then I have these pieces back here that are cut and pinned together that will make that little pop-up. So, working on that. And I'm also still working on this Creative Notion subscription box project, this apple core. I have the apple apple core all done. I just have to add some borders to it. So mine did a little bit different because after we come this little piece border right here, we got the apple cores and then the apple core white here, which I trimmed down, and then I put these little pieces on, and instead of having the white border and the print border, mine is just a big white piece. That's how I'm doing it, and then my binding will be black. So there we go. I'm just working on adding the side borders right now. So that's what mine's looking like. Let me unfold it. This is the top and bottom border I have yet to put on. So like I said, there's my apple core with my side borders. I've got pens that just have to sew. So that is close to being done. So I've also worked on some sew sampler projects. Again, these were from several years ago. I tend to work on them in order. But here is this pattern. It's a table runner pattern. Now these right here are foundation paper piecings. So I worked on doing a couple of those. There's the foundation paper piece, the vintage kite, and this is using Lori Holt's Calico collection. So get that, did some paper piecing, and now I'm starting to sew those together to make this. This will be a top, and then a bottom will go down here. And then I can sew top and bottom and then trim it all up, and it will look like the vintage star. Now because I got pins in it, it doesn't look exactly right, but it is. There we go. Kind of hard to see that, but that's okay. So yeah, you know, these are the foundation paper pieces. Now in order to start these, you do have to cut these apart into 4 sections and then do the blocks. So I think I'm going to do about 2 of these blocks at a time till it's all done. So that is what I did there. Then I also worked on another sew sampler project. So this is 2 of a kind, and this is from the October 2022 box. So this is a table runner here, and then this little mini quilt right over here, and I'm doing both of them. I did have enough fabric where I can make both of them for this project, so I decided I would. So as far as the table runner goes, I'll show you what that's looking like. I just have to put some final seams in it because I've got these things pinned together here. But there's the table runner. Like I said, each of these blocks are still pinned together, so that's why it's not laying exactly flat. But I've got that. And then this mini quilt here, I'll show you in just a second. Now this mini quilt, I thought I was ready to start adding my borders, and then I discovered a mistake. That is, I had sewn all these rows together and I didn't add the sashing. So I had to get the seam ripper out, rip all those rows together, and now I've got the sashing in there pinned. So next time I go together, I can finish sewing this together and then add my borders. You know, when I show you this with all my pens, it kind of looks silly because, you know, I don't know how to do anything without pens. But once I get the pens in there and press, it'll be fine. So that is what I did on that. And I also worked some more on this Swan Island. Basically, I just need to add the borders and then this is all done. So let me show you this. I've got the side border pinned on right now. I just need to sew that and then do the top and bottom border. And the Swan Island quilt will be all finished. See, there's my border I got pinned on. So that is what this is looking like. Now this is Elizabeth Hartman pattern, and I did the picnic quilt, so this is 76 by 76 is where we are at for that. And the other thing I've worked on over the last couple weeks as far as sewing and quilting is another sew sampler project. Let's see. That is this Petals quilt pattern. Or now they have a table runner. I'm not doing the table runner. I'm going to do this mini quilt back here, right here, which is 30.5 by 38.5. So I'm just working on those blocks, and here's where my blocks are. I've got it pinned. I just have to sew those, make that seam, and then all the blocks will be done, and I can start assembling them into the whole little quilt top, and then add some borders. Okay. So I think that's everything that I've worked on as far as sewing and quilting the last couple weeks. There could be things I missed. I'm not really sure because it has been a while, but that's kind of what I made. So let's go on to what I've done in cross stitch. Okay, cross stitch. Now I did cross stitch that piece for that binder cover, and then I also fully finished some of these, my Simply Sayings. This is September's Autumn Bake List, Bake a Pie, Jump in the Leaves, Visit a Pumpkin Patch, Pick Apples. This was for September's. This was Simply Sayings, cross stitch I've done a while ago, and I'm just fully finishing them here. And this is October's. I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. I got a big wrinkly piece there. It must have been where it was sitting. Yeah, well, I think I can get that out. But that's beside the point. So what am I doing with these? Well, I have this little shelf that sits up there. I'll put little things right here. I took it down since my quilt was going to cover it up today anyway, so I can take off my August and put my September. Although it's not going to be up there for very long before I got to switch it out to October's. So that'll sit up there. Probably put some of my woobly things up there, back up there. Now I did have my little birthday celebration for all the warmer months, because in my house everybody has a birthday in the warmer months. And technically my husband's the end of May, so technically that's late spring, so I can't really say summer, but it's warmer months. So I worked on that, and then as far as stitching goes, I'm still stitching on this Sunflower Manor by Hands On Design. So I work one color at a time. I had worked all the white up here in Autumn. There's the Autumn. So before I moved on to the next color, I wanted to get all the white done in this picture with the house. Here's where I am. I'm still working on the white, almost done. So I've just started on the home words down here, and then I've got just a little bit underneath that home. So here is where I'm at. So hopefully I can get that all finished this week, and then I can start adding color to it. So that's where I am in cross stitch. Now crochet. So my husband had bought this a while ago, wanted me to do it for my daughter for this Halloween. I guess it's an axolotl. I don't know much about it. But here it was. So I made it, crocheted it, and made it. And here's what mine looks like. There it is. Looks kind of silly, funny. There's the little star one. Now I just leave the embroidery off the book, but I just left it like that. So that's the wizard, the axolotl wizard. So I made that. So I can give that back to my daughter. Since I finished that, I decided it was time to leave the amigurumi stuff alone for a while and move on to something else. So I'm back to wearables. And I started on this shawl, this Adler leaf shawl. Hard to see, but it's got like little leaf patterns in the shawl. I probably will make mine much bigger than what theirs is because I have all this dark green yarn that I'm using. And this is where I am on that. So that's what I did, or what I've been doing for crochet. Next up is my diamond painting. So this is Dreamer Designs, Dreams of Elysium, my diamond painting. This is where I am. Now once again, I bought this several years ago. Just working on them now. So I was working on that. So that's everything that I've been working on the last couple weeks. So this week, plan on doing the rest of my videos for my shop hop haul. I bought a lot of stuff during that shop hop, as well as my little August birthday spinning spree. So I've got a lot of projects to keep me busy for a while. So I'm kind of telling myself I'm not allowed to buy anything else unless I need something to finish a project I'm already working on. All right, till next time. Bye.